we're very grateful to be in this position, to be playing in this game. Winner takes the East. Winner takes all right there. So.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in on this Wednesday to the Maize and Blues. Good afternoon, Michigan football. I'm Dennis Fithian. As Jim Harbaugh, Michigan coach, grateful. Winner takes it all. Winner takes the East. That's what we're talking about today as we get ready to go kick this one off. It already feels like the holiday weekend with 4 straight days of sports. Who doesn't like Thanksgiving week? I like it, and this week in this 2022 Thanksgiving, this could prove to be one of the greatest of them all if things end up working out. The table is set. Everything is ready to go. It's all there. Things just have to fall in place, and things just have to go well. And this really could. We could be sitting around talking about this being the greatest Thanksgiving weekend ever. I have no exaggeration. We're not getting here. We don't have to throw out any cliches. We don't have to do anything else. We don't have to think about, well, this and that. It's there. Just sit down, enjoy it, make it happen. We'll see how it goes. I'm happy to be here. If you're tuning in for the first time, I don't carry on, yell and scream all the time like this, but, at certain times you need it. You need a little bit, to get cranked up, get excited about what's happening, what's on the horizon. And, tomorrow's going to be nice. There's a preamble, so you get ready, 3 football games and a late-night basketball game, and, Thanksgiving with the family and sitting around. That's all great. And I like Black Friday myself, sitting around. Not so much for, any deals or anything out there, but there's a bunch of football on. And to boot, this time around, we've got a soccer game that's everybody's going to be watching as well. But that all just takes us up to Saturday at noon down in Columbus. The skies are going to be gray. It's going to be cold. And you got 2 teams that are 11-0 trying to, get to the Big Ten championship game and then move on to the college football playoff and the national championship game. And it's all there for the taking. Michigan has positioned themselves fantastically, and we'll see what Jim Harbaugh and company have out there for the Buckeyes on Saturday. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Let's, you want to see it in words, I'll put it up on the screen for you. I do want to tell you that it's pretty obvious this week that if you're looking for something, you talk about those, Black Friday deals and everything else. Give the gift or give it to yourself, the gift of the Maize and Blue Review this holiday season. Go to michigan.rivals.com to get that done. That's a smart move by you. And you don't have to leave your house and you can hook somebody up. Great job by you. All right. We will, in the upcoming hour or so, talk about the college football rankings that broke out yesterday, what it means for Michigan, if you were surprised by anything. All that kind of stuff. We'll look at, I just talked a lot about that holiday the menu, and we'll go back over that. It never hurts to take a look at what's out there, and just to look over the next 4 days and how much fun that you could possibly have. But we're going to start with asking you about Michigan and this game coming up on Saturday, and specifically asking you to complete this thought, complete this sentence. Michigan will win this game if. Michigan will win this game if. Feel like the quarterback. Snap. Let's go. Get on in with that. Michigan will win this game if. All right. We're a program that invites people as we are. People know that we're here weekdays at 1, so they know they can stop by and they know they can get their thoughts in and participate in this show by typing a question, answering the question of the day, and we read the responses, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Michigan will win this game if. Jason is the first up to answer it. Michigan will win if. We play and stay sound. Stick to the game plan and control both lines of the ball, both sides of the ball. Make them beat us at our game. Don't get too caught up in the moment. Be coaches, be players, be your best. Have fun. Jason, I'm picking it up. You laid it down. I'm picking it up. I like everything that you have in there, and I think when it comes to coaching in this game, the Harbaugh has the advantage on day. I think that Harbaugh is not somebody that's going to get too caught up in the moment. He will have his team ready. So from a coaching standpoint, I feel pretty good about the game plan and also what Jim Harbaugh is the head coach, how he has them prepared and how he'll have them ready to go at 12 o'clock on Saturday. And that trickles down to the players. They don't need to be nervous. This is fun. You heard Harbaugh there at the beginning. It'd be grateful. I mean, you're in a position to do what you wanted to do. This is it. Go out there and make it happen. And, they have the game plan. And play your best and see what happens as you go out there and play your game. Sound football sounds like a great idea to me. So, nice job. That's the way Michigan will win this game. That sounds pretty good to me. So does this. Any kind of holiday wishes, I'm taking them in, and I appreciate them. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, absolutely. And he's talking for this show and getting the chat to all the people. There he is, Logan. Logan S. is getting ready, who has a great-looking dog. I'm a big dog guy here. We got 2 in the family in the house right now, plus cats and goats. I mean, we're animals galore, so I love looking at pictures of dogs. And, I love Thanksgiving. I was going to say that I never met anyone that doesn't like Thanksgiving, but that's not true. Oh, my sister-in-law didn't really like Thanksgiving. So, hey, she doesn't like it. I don't know why. Maybe I know some of the reasons, but luckily I don't have anything to do with it. I hope. Let's see. Detroit says Michigan wins if they tackle, as if their life depends on it. And I'm talking 0 gain tackles and wrapping up. Don't let the wide receivers dictate the yards after the catch. Trust your help and tackle aggressively. Yeah, Michigan, what they have, it's a great point about the tackling. Don't let a 5-yard gain turn into something yards after the catch, 15, 20 or more. As Ohio State has outstanding wide receivers, has outstanding skill positions, and they're going to catch the ball. But getting them on the ground, I think that's important. Looking at Michigan just playing this year, and then looking at some of the numbers from people that track Pro Football Focus, Michigan is up towards the top when it comes to tackling this year in college football. So they've got the numbers, but it doesn't hurt to emphasize that coming up in a game like this when you have explosive players being able to get them on the ground. That can be as big as a turnover. Lyle says 5 days till Urban is announced as head coach. I don't know what that is referring to. Logan, thank you. He's thankful for this show. Here is FTC. He says Corum will play. I kind of feel like that as well. So we sit here on a Wednesday, and I know that I told everybody, I'm not talking about it. Let's wait till later in the week, and it's not later in the week yet. Although, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I am coming back on Friday for the eve of the game, and I'll be bursting at the seams on Black Friday to be talking with everyone at 1 o'clock. But we are talking about practice, not the game, just what's been going on at practice, and some jogging, some side work, some walking. There's some things, walkthroughs. I'm sorry, hey, walking, that's good. side work, treatment. I think he's going to give it a shot. I think he's going to be dressed. I think he's going to be out there. Mostly I'm just talking about, I'm not diving so deep into any reporting or anything like that yet. A lot of it, what I'm thinking, and I don't know, FTC, who you're talking with, and, you're making your statement. I feel like that myself. It's a gut feel. And it does come from, seeing him walk off the field Saturday, to see him run on the field on Saturday, to see him go out there and give it a go, to see him on the bike, to see him the next day walking around Ypsilanti, to hear about some couple different things that have been going on in practice. I mean, all of those things make me feel like he's going to give it a go. FTC is not saying Corum's going to run for 200 yards and he's going to put Michigan on their back and lead them to the Big Ten championship game in Indy. He's talking about Corum playing. And right now, I'm not here, and I don't think, and everybody can have, their opinion and say whatever they want, but I kind of feel like FTC, I'm not ready to, say I think you're wrong, as I don't think you are. FTC now is laying down a prediction, talking about Michigan winning by 2 scores. Hey, let's go. I'm all for that. I don't know about. I'm gonna wait. Like the prediction wise, I got Friday. Does it do any good? Even like Michigan's the underdog, and you don't like the you know like some of the trends. And you don't have a good fit. Any of that, does it do any good to say? Well, I think Ohio State's gonna win. I don't feel like that. Even. Entertaining that idea today. So, and Matt is saying he's at least going to start. Yeah, well, let's go, Matt. I mean, come on. Logan answering the question: Michigan will win if they dominate the point of attack on both sides of the ball, and if Jesse Minter can keep pressure on Shroud from all 11 of our defenders throughout the game. JJ needs to be hot. Yeah, well, you got a lot going on there, Logan, and I tend to think that what you're having to say here is pretty important. Michigan won the game last year by dominating on both sides of the ball at the point of attack. So I feel like if we were playing around the horn and I was that dude that was giving the panel points, I would I'd be clicking you some points there for saying that Michigan, if they dominate at the point of attack. Those are some points. Jesse Minter keeping the pressure on. Like, however you rank the importance of the game, wherever you're at, like Michigan needs to run the ball. Michigan needs to get pressure on Stroud. I think that if I'm going to order them up, Logan, my number one key is right there, what you're talking about with Jesse Minter. If Michigan can keep pressure on Stroud, that is the number one key for the Wolverines as I sit here and think about it. And I order up the keys to the game. Pressure on CJ Stroud. All quarterbacks. In any football game, it's important. When you're a team that really likes to throw the ball and you have outstanding wide receivers, and then you look at some of the numbers where you're not good, you're in the lower third, lower 10th of all teams in college football of throwing the football when pressured. That's where Stroud's at with some of those metrics. Yeah. So it's important in any football game. It's really important. I think it's number one in this game from Logan. Keeping pressure on Stroud. If JJ gets hot, whoo, yeah, JJ, if you're looking at does last week's game mean anything towards this week's game? Sure, some things do, especially how you feel about certain things. Does the previous game mean anything as it applies? Sure. Not everything, but then you have trends. We've seen Michigan play 11 games. We have seen J.J. McCarthy start 10 games. He didn't start the first game against Colorado State, and then he took over at the controls against Hawaii, and he hasn't looked back in terms of being the starter. We've seen him as a leader out there on the field. We saw him struggle in the first half against Maryland in the Big Ten opener, settle down in the second half. Then we saw him go to Iowa, cool as a cucumber as a quarterback, except the one time when he fumbled and the ball was trickling back towards the goal line. Donovan Edwards had to jump on it, but he's taking care of the football pretty well. I knew he threw a pick against Indiana, but it will be good if JJ to have his favorite targets out there. And his favorite target is Ronnie Bell. His second favorite target is Luke Schoonmaker. I think his third favorite target is Donovan Edwards. It would be nice if he had all of his favorite targets out there. And then, even though you say, if we haven't seen it in 10 or 11 games, why would you think that things would start clicking now? And I think that's, I understand that point. Me saying that, the passing game's going to click and, maybe they're going to hook up a couple deep shots because Ohio State's not expecting it. Does that fall in the category of a wild prediction? It falls in the category of we haven't seen it, so why would you make that kind of prediction? But, this is the kind of game, if Michigan's going to win, they're going to have to do some things to make up some big plays. And, JJ firing downfield, and for as much as I don't really like his touch, and certainly when he's throwing the ball downfield. And then last game, I know there was a win, but, it seemed like whether he was moving too much around and just like firing the football, it didn't seem like a great passer. But, having said that, you think about a couple games, Rutgers, where you got Andrell Anthony laying out, catch the damn ball. Keyshawn said, just throw me the damn ball. Catch the damn ball. If Michigan can catch the damn ball, JJ is going to be throwing it out there. And then, same thing. Illinois. Andrell Anthony, wide open. He's got two guys on him, but McCarthy threw him the perfect kind of pass. It might not have been the perfect loft and everything else, but it was right there on his hands. I mean, what else can you ask for if you're a wide receiver? You can't ask for anything more. You want to be targeted? You want the ball in the end zone? You want a bomb? There it was. Catch it. Catch the football. If Michigan calls and dials up some long ball, and you get the protection and you have the ball coming to you, a lot of things have to go well to even have it out there to have the opportunity. Catch it. That's up there. I don't know if I'm ready to say that's number 2, catching the damn ball, but it's somewhere. I feel like that's in a top 5. Getting pressure on Stroud, catching the football. Tackling. There's 3. If I can be pushed off of those 3, I probably can. Running the ball seems like going to be pretty high up there. It's Michigan's identity. It's what they want to do. I'm going to go pressuring the quarterback, running, catching. I mean, we get down. Here we are. Big game. I want Michigan to run, catch, tackle, and blocked. Let's get it down. Pretty easy stuff. Those are your 4 keys: blocking and tackling, catching and running. You want expert analysis? That's why you tune in on weekdays, especially during big games. Tune in and say, I want to know what's the edge? What the experts saying? I'm saying blocking, tackling, catching, and running. That's my breakdown. That's where I'm at. Matt thinks Corum's going to start. Let's say it again. He thinks they're going to start. Let's get a couple more in here. We'll try to get everybody their opportunity to get in on this Wednesday, the biggest bar night of the year. I'm not going out to the bar. I'll be watching. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It sounds like a fun night. Would go out and watch Michigan take on Jackson State down at the Chrysler Center? That sounds like a good night too. You can't do any of those things. How about after the game, watching the Maize and Blue Reviews Michigan basketball postgame live? That'll take place at around 10 o'clock tonight. That sounds good. Get Stroud off of his spots. Don't get fooled by him running. Jump a route or two. Ooh, jump a route. That's a sweet profile picture. Is that a cartoon cigar? What's up with that? I guess I didn't know really what that was. That looked like a big cigar. Logan says Stroud is pedestrian throwing the ball when there is pressure. Actually, he is less than pedestrian. He is amongst the worst quarterbacks in the country when he is pressured. Pedestrian is too kind. All or most are healthy. I don't know. Lyle, is he making a statement? I think that's what it is. That's what people are making statements. Corum, Edwards, Morris will play. Here's Flint Truth. Michigan will win this game if they limit the passing game and make OSU settle for field goals. Can't have as many passing yards this year, or else I don't know. But Flint Truth is confident in the, is it a million or billion? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Is it a, I think that is that'd be 10,000, 100,000, a million, 10 million? I think so. I get confused. My eyes, head spinning. Travis answering the question about Michigan will win if, he says, well, he's making another statement. Sorry, I don't understand some of the JJ displeasure within the fan base. Better passing rate than Cade last year with 200 yards rushing and 3 rushing TDs. It's the deep passes, Travis. It's confidence in throwing the football. There's a lot of things to like about JJ McCarthy. He's fabulous. He wasn't last game, but he has been fabulous as a runner. He's been very good there. Almost everything that you could want as a Michigan fan. But the passing, that's where, like, you can be honest about it. It's taken a step back. It hasn't progressed like you were hoping. And, you don't have to be able to, unleash a downfield passing game, but it would make you feel really confident, like and this is where Michigan has put themselves. They've, yeah, he's been really good. And, he's led the team to an 11-0 record. It's a great job and put himself in a position for everything. Awesome job. All of that. So yeah, you're not going to be too down on really anybody for what's going on. I mean, what are we talking about? Great job so far. Get it done on Saturday. You're going to be one of the teams that will be remembered forever. You got a chance to do that. You got a chance to be one of the great teams in Michigan football history. You got one of the chances to be one of the great teams in all of college football history. So yeah, we're going to take everything and put it in perspective. I think about watching, when Georgia was playing Tennessee and that, little Stenson Bennett, like he was back there whipping the ball down the field. It's like, whoa, connecting with some of that. That's big boy football. That's impressive. Now Michigan can do some other things, but that's where it comes from. I think you can be honest about that. Let's take 3 more, and then we'll get some other feedback, or we'll get the next point in here, and then we'll get to some more feedback. Marcus says Michigan will win if they keep the receivers in front of them, tackle well, create a turnover. Bottom line, it's on the defense. Adam saying if they keep everything in front of them on defense and control the clock on offense. Ooh, controlling the clock. D Original. the original. He lives up to his name. He comes with originality. They will win if they control the field position. Make OSU go the length of the field. I like that. No quick strikes. No big gainers. No chunk play. You're going to give up some. If Michigan could keep Ohio State explosives. I mean, people call them a lot of different things. Sometimes they say it's over 20 yards. Some people like to say over 25 yards. I'll say under 20. If Michigan can keep Ohio State's explosives under 4, so they can get 3 explosives. Hopefully those aren't like 69, 70, whatever, 55. Hopefully if they are 3 explosives, it's 21, 24. 35, something like that. I think that Michigan, you give up more than 3 explosives, you could be in trouble. I think it goes for the other side as well. Explosives in a game like this. Hadley breaking it down into some kind of code. Hadley. An X, ZZ, ZZ, YYZ. All right. That's confusing me. Which isn't really hard to do, but Hadley has done it with a series of looked like his cat walked across the computer. Oh, I'll answer the question. Michigan will win this game if they score 30 points. Score 30, keep Ohio State under 30, get out there, run the football, catch the ball, and pressure Stroud. Those are some of the ones. I mean, I'm ripping off a lot of them here, but if I had to go with one, scoring 30. I'll feel good about Michigan's chances in this game. Moving on. College football rankings came out last night. I have them up on the screen. You already know who they are. I don't have to read through all of it, but in parentheses, I have put the strength of schedule for all of the teams. And last night, the committee was out there, and they were, whether you want to say ragging on Michigan or whatever the narrative, Michigan fans don't like to hear it. They like to talk about Michigan's non-conference, and we can't argue. You put Georgia's non-conference games up there. They've got, like they play Oregon, but then you look at some of the other ones, the 3 other ones, and we do know Ohio State played Notre Dame. Then they're getting a lot of credit in the non-conference for playing the Irish. But the one thing you can't dispute, like you can dispute by putting the other non-conference, like Clemson's non-conference games up there and, comparing them to Michigan's. Michigan's were all a group of 5, no power 5s in their non-conference. I know it was a long time ago. We know that the committee keeps bringing it up. But the strength of schedule, the top 8 teams, Michigan has the lowest, the worst one. Michigan is at 74. And I looked in the top 25. There's only there were 3 teams, I think, that had worse in all the top 25 that had a higher strength of schedule, and they're way down there. North Carolina, who's like 18, Cincinnati, and there's one more team that was down, in the 20s that had a poor strength of schedule. So, what that means is that Michigan, the playoff committee, like, Boo Corrigan, who runs the committee, he's not Michigan's Boo. He is not Michigan's Boo. Boo is, he's an SEC guy. He's Bama's Boo. Obviously, he's LSU's Boo. He is not Michigan's Boo. If Michigan drops this game to Ohio State, even though we went through, there's a lot of different things that can happen. Most of them are going to have to happen until Boo Corrigan and the rest of those guys reluctantly, Heather Dinich, I know she's not involved, but if Michigan is somehow going to drop this game, they better play a game where everybody's watching and saying, man, we just want to see this one again. Or if they let that committee anyway, almost feels like any way they can do it, they'll just be like, let's get Michigan out of there. Then another strength of schedule. They had non-conference, and they'll bring it up, and it'll be really easy for them to go and drop them down. A couple of things that would make you upset if Michigan had one loss if LSU with 2 losses won the SEC and got in over a one-loss Michigan team, would that make you upset? Probably, but SEC winner, SEC title game, you can understand that. Would USC, who still has Notre Dame and Oregon, and a Pac-12 winner, if they won 2 more games and they got in over a one-loss Michigan team, I don't think you could complain about that. Even though they don't have the greatest strength of schedule here, look at USC. They are playing Notre Dame and Oregon coming up. I don't think you could be upset. If a 2-loss Alabama team got in over a one-loss Michigan team, you could be upset. If a Clemson one-loss team that wins the ACC, could you be upset? Yes. Clemson's not Boo is not Clemson's. Wait, they're not his boo either. I feel like their boy, his girl. There's Boo. Boo Corrigan, they don't like Clemson. And I even listened to, some of that last night when they're talking about Clemson. They're like, Clemson. Just like when they talk about Michigan, they're like, Michigan didn't have a good non-conference schedule. When they talk about Clemson, like, Clemson's got a nice defense. That committee doesn't like Clemson either. Boy, if they have to make a decision with Clemson and Michigan with one loss and winning the ACC, I said Michigan better really play a hell of a game. If they came up short, the whole country would be like, well, we want them. And then I think that can happen. Best route, go out there, win the ball game. Win the ball game. That's what I see of what's happening there. Clayton. Talking about Corum and Edwards. It's still a little bit early to make any declarations about that, Clayton. So I know people are. It doesn't matter. People are making declarations. I even came in here talking about practice, not the game, practice and jogging and walkthroughs and treatment and work on the side and all of that kind of stuff. That's all right, Clayton. I'm telling you right up to the moment here. Tomorrow is going to be a real big day. Today's a big day. I don't know exactly when they're probably out on the practice field right now. So, how those guys feel today, what they're able to do tomorrow, that's what it's going to come down to. People throwing different sources out here. Here's the one thing for me. If I did not read somebody specifically or hear it myself from them, I can't really go on as much as, I appreciate everybody saying things and giving their 2 cents and everything else. I can't really go on anything, or I don't even, I don't know. I know some of the people that you're talking about, but I'm not sure where they said that or, so I'm not going to put it up here myself. That's good. People on the chat, like they can see it. So you've got that going for you. And, hopefully what you're putting up there is true. Let's look at what's going to happen until noon over this next few days, which are a lot of fun. I love it. I love tomorrow. 3 NFL games tomorrow. I get, you say people getting your feelings, it's the holidays. It is Thanksgiving, it takes you into, then the Christmas season after this. A lot of people, my family included, we get the Christmas tree and everything going up this weekend. So that gets the holiday spirit going, the meal and everything. I don't know how many times my family all just sits around together and eats. That's all happening. And then even with the Lions, I get a little bit sentimental with the Lions on Thanksgiving. They always play on Thanksgiving. They always play the noon game. They always disappoint you. And yet you sit there on every year and watch on a Thursday, and it brings up a lot of great memories for me. Whether it's growing up or, Barry Sanders, or when I think in my 20s and early 30s, I might have went to, 15, my brother had season tickets with his friends for the Lions, and almost every year somebody didn't want to go on Thanksgiving. So I went. I tailgated a lot at the Silverdome on Thanksgiving. And it's a great time. It's a great tailgate, man. It'll be packed, but they usually do disappoint. But then you get all these games. You get a basketball game tomorrow, and then we get into Black Friday. It's getting that much closer, and then we got all kinds of football games, rivalry games. Doesn't really matter. Like if it's Arizona State, whoever else, you're gonna watch them. Like there they are. It's nice to be able to sit back and watch all of those, and then you get a soccer game, the most important soccer game in 10 years. That's a long time. USA England, that could be interesting at 1:00. So you got that going on, and then then noon on Saturday happens, and I want to remind everybody that on Black Friday we'll come in here and we'll see what we know about everything as it applies to Saturday and the Michigan-Ohio State game later on that day. I'm looking forward that night to a little USC Notre Dame. If Michigan wins on Saturday, that is going to be. Let's just think about it for a second. Michigan wins the game on Saturday. What is the rest of Saturday going to be like? The rest of the Saturday, if Michigan beats Ohio State, it's going to be great. It's going to be one of the greatest Saturdays ever. It'll be one of the greatest Thanksgiving weekends ever. It'll be one of the greatest weeks ever leading up into the to the Big Ten championship game, which I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but this is all theoretically speaking, that it would feel like it would, and Harbaugh mentioned this last year, it'd be like Michigan, it'd be like the USA the beating Russia in 1980 and the Miracle on Ice. That wasn't the finals. They had to play Finland in the next game. And, that was a 1-goal game into the third period. So they have the Big Ten championship game, but it would already feel like Michigan had made the college football playoff. And that's great to be able to say, well, you got to take one more step. It will be, and the overall feeling this last year with Michigan winning, I knew it was going to be like this. I knew that it was going to be great. And then when they won the Big Ten, it validated them beating Ohio State. And if they did that again, they would be going back to the college football playoff. This time around, it would feel like Michigan, if they win on Saturday, it would really feel like, they got a month then. Well, they play the semifinals on the 31st. You would have a month to get everybody healthy for the semifinals. It feel like, Michigan could win it all. It would also feel like in the history of the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry that the way that it has gone, that, one team has dominated for a large stretch of time and then the other team took over and grabbed the ball and then they dominated. It would feel like it's Michigan's turn if they win for the first time against Ohio State since in 22 years, since 2000, that, it would feel like all of that is turned. And as great as last year was, I don't know, if something is great, you say, oh, last year was great. Can it be greater? Yes. Yes, it can. So, that's what's at stake, just possibly the greatest Saturday, the greatest weekend, and, tacking on an additional sports-wise greatest year again. So, have some fun with that. Get ready for it. That's what I'm talking about. As we take a few more um, questions or points on the feedback. All right. Defense travels. Hadley. Oh, this is the famous Hadley. Was calling me Larry David. He says I sound like Larry David. Let's do this on Saturday. Michigan will win if they get takeaways and play a solid game. Hadley, that's right to the point. You get him coming out of the woodworks. Like the great Hadley. Hadley, who the last time I talked with him lived in Columbus, of all places, the biggest Michigan fan in the world, and he lives in Columbus. How'd you like to be Hadley? Just think about it for a couple minutes. You're a big Michigan fan, and you're stuck in the armpit of America with a million ne'er-do-wells every day. The Philistines constantly are, chewing tobacco and hairspray and lottery tickets and everything else. You don't like to group all of Ohio State fans into one cluster, but they are mostly all a bunch of drunk fools. And Hadley has been living down there amongst them all for a long time. The original talking about Morris not playing. Well, the original, I felt good that he could have played last week, so I'm expecting him to play this week. Richard's expecting him to play as well. Detwa is bottom lining the game. We got to start at least semi-hot, no first half of all field goals. Yeah, I don't know. You would say that in a big game, and I would tend to believe that. But just like we've talked about, JJ and where the passing game with him has gone. And I know Michigan, they, last week's game was a real nail biter. But if it goes at how mostly this season has gone, Michigan will be tied or they'll be, down at the half. And it'll look like that, they're in trouble. And yet Minter and everybody at halftime will make the adjustments and put this over there, and Michigan will come out and play great in the second half. So, yeah, I hear you. I'd like Michigan to take the first drive down and score and not look back. How can Ohio State be soft and yet be 11-0 in the Big Ten? Well, Trepa, the Big Ten overall has sucked this year. That's the one thing when it gets back to Michigan and, their non-conference slate and how Boo and the rest of the committee have ragged Michigan for not playing any Power 5 teams. You could also, if you wanted to, you could say, well, what's Michigan's best win? This is if they get to a one-loss situation. It doesn't matter. If they beat Ohio State, they win the Big Ten, they're going to be in there. It doesn't matter what Boo or anybody else says. Michigan will be in there. But if you do get down to the one-loss situation, you'll say, all right, who's Michigan's best win? You'll say, well, Penn State. Well, Penn State's a top 10 team. Who else? Iowa? Like the rest of these teams that could potentially have one loss, they'll be like, maybe not Clemson. The rest of them, they have more than one, you say, quality win. And, it's not Michigan's fault that the Big Ten sucked this year. It did, though. Here's Montrell, who is saying that Jim won't allow JJ to get hot. He kills the offense, his opinion, and he's doing a disservice to those wide receivers. Well, Montrell, there's a point there. I don't know about him allowing him to get hot, like you're talking about, well, how can he get in rhythm and everything else? He may have to do that. We'll see what happens with all the injuries and everything else. But, Harbaugh, I thought last year at halftime of the Washington game that, are they going to come out and run the ball against Washington again? They did it. And then they kept doing it. And they did it all season long, and they beat Ohio State doing it. And then I said this year, looking at all the wide receivers and J.J. McCarthy, that, they're just going to have to throw. They can't go back and play the exact same way and have the same identity as they did last year. And guess what? They did it. So I don't know. You want to, ding Harbaugh, a couple of days before, 11-0, playing for everything down in Columbus at the Horseshoe. Go ahead. Everybody can do it different ways. I get it. And after the game, it didn't work out. Pile on, go after them. But I got to be honest. Like, even though if I was in the meeting room, I'd have said, Jim, let's do some things differently here. I don't think he would have listened. I don't think he would be listening to you either, Montrell. I think he would be saying, Montrell, you really having a hard time with all these wins? You're really having a hard time looking at this undefeated season, Montrell? You're really upset with me because we're undefeated, getting ready to play for everything? Again, you're really going to be upset about that? So, means a point there, too. And when you take both of those points, instead of Montrell, ripping or ragging on Jim a little bit here, I'm going to side with Harbaugh. Even though I would be mostly with you, Montrell, in those meeting rooms, I'd be saying, yeah, Jim, you should have done this. You should have done that. And I hear you. Yeah, get reps. They don't get enough. Let's see. I hear you. All right. I've got something going on that I have to address, so I want to get 3 more in here. Adam's got a key, being physical. Last year, Ohio State was soft. Clayton is feeling better about the game before we played Illinois, is all I'm saying. We didn't respond well after Corum went down. I think that's a fine point. And the coach, AJ, says, I imagine the Michigan game will be played out just like the Penn State game. Penn State was trying to be like Ohio and get pushed around this year. Ohio State is very thin up front, especially at defensive tackle. Matt has a prediction of 34-10. Well, that would be just fabulous, Matt. I do want to remind everybody that coming up tomorrow, I'm going to be eating and watching games like everybody else. But I'll be back for a football Black Friday, latest on Michigan and Ohio State, and then turning our attention to tonight. We've got a basketball game, Juwan Howard and company in action, Michigan hosting Jackson State. That is an 8:30 tip. Following the game, Michigan basketball postgame live. I'll be here, and I will talk about the Wolverines on the hardwood. Until then, I want to thank everybody for watching, and if I don't talk at you tonight after the basketball game, everybody have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you at 1 o'clock right here on Friday. Until then,